Well, I was talking to someone actually yesterday, and I was saying in the last 2 months, I think our referrals that have come from accountants has probably increased tenfold. Because the landscape is so much tougher in getting the interest back, in getting long-term payment plans. Even yesterday, I was talking to an accountant, and he was telling me that if his team gets a 6-month payment plan, they're happy. However, that's not really viable for a business. And I said, well, I'm not happy unless my team get a 3-year payment plan. And the difference that can make for a client, and the difference if you just think in simple terms. I should have had some numbers prepared, but in simple terms, if you very high level divide the debt by 6 compared to if you divide the debt by say 30, the difference that makes for someone that's a bit cash strapped at the moment, it puts them into a compliant position, so the ATO aren't chasing them, they're not receiving garnishee notices, or they're not getting credit reporting, but it's an amount that they can actually afford, makes a complete difference on whether or not that business is viable and whether or not it can continue to trade.
People just aren't aware of what's possible. All right. And the accountants fall into that category. You know, when you do what you've always done, you're going to know kind of what you've always known. But the reality is you can actually achieve those longer payment arrangements if you put it in the hands of an expert. And that's just something that, you know, if I go to an accountant, you know, God bless them, they're going to be able to do what my accountant needs to do for me. But when it comes to the specialty work of negotiating tax debt, you want to deal with an expert. You want to deal with a specialist that doesn't diminish the relationship with my accountant, and actually, in fact, gives me more faith in them as somebody who's looking after my well-being if they're referring me on to a specialist. Because I'm not leaving my accountant if they've been able to help me with people that are, you know, founded by lawyers that are able to navigate and help me get the best payment arrangement I can, and also the greatest opportunity for remissions. Absolutely, I want to do that, and I'm going to love my accountant even more for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think information and misinformation is huge at the moment, even in today's digital era. I was reading an interesting article today on Accountants Daily, actually, about SBRs, and a lot of the misinformation around SBRs. Look, they have a place. The legislation was put into place for a reason. But one of the biggest things that we're seeing now is it's affecting people's borrowing power. It's affecting, if you've been through an SBR and you still have a personal liability with the ATO that we can absolutely help with, or you still have a company liability because it hasn't completely wiped the debt, the options for borrowing, and people didn't understand that it's almost wiped out their options for borrowing when there could have potentially been other solutions. And that's what we're seeing an increase now of, that people might have otherwise that were considering SBRs are coming to us for a different solution that still protects them but doesn't then have the same consequences.
Well, it's being sold as a quick fix. Oh, we can solve that problem for you, make it go away. But they don't understand the implications of an act of insolvency.
Yeah, I wish I wasn't about to say this, but I don't think there is a quick fix. I think there's consequences for all of these different solutions. There are solutions, and you need to act early, but I don't think there is one magic wand that's ever a quick fix.